When it comes to the debate about the Middle East and the war between Hamas and Israel and the repugnant anti-Semitism that we've seen here unleashed around the world and, of course, in Australia, the media has played a crucial role. As you know, I've railed against biased and misleading coverage from the very first days after the October the 7th atrocity. We've seen shocking moral equivalence between the Hamas terrorist blood-curdling attacks on civilians and the Israeli Defence Force's efforts to defend Israel and eliminate the terrorists. Media organisations have failed to report the extent of the atrocities against Israel. They've amplified Hamas propaganda and falsely accused Israel of murderous attacks. They've sought to legitimise the atrocities of the Islamist extremist terrorist groups funded by Iran as some kind of legitimate war of liberation for Palestine. It's been abhorrent, and tragically for Australian taxpayers, our national broadcaster, the ABC, has been one of the prime offenders. I'm joined now by prominent Melbourne businessman, member of its Jewish community and a former ABC board member, Joseph Gersh. Joseph, thanks for joining us again. I just want to get your thoughts, especially on this day when we see anti-Semitism rising to such a putrid level in this country. What's your thoughts about the role the ABC has played in this debate in this country?
Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. As you would have noticed, I posted in response to Sky News' initiative to have an anti-Semitism summit next week, which was announced by Shari Markson the other night, with the participation of the ECHA spokesman, Alex, who, and I congratulate Sky News for doing that, and for those who are supporting that initiative, including yourself, Chris. So that's where I'd like to begin. But my reaction as a former ABC director and as an Australian member of the Jewish community was, why is this always coming from Sky News? Where is the ABC on all of this? And that's not criticising what Sky News is doing, but it's asking of our national broadcaster, we are in a crisis of anti-Semitism in this country, a crisis. And today's manifestation is just yet another example of what the Jewish community is facing, a crisis which, if not reversed, if not dealt with, is going to undermine the social cohesion of this country, cause the Jewish community to reevaluate the viability of Jewish life in this country. And if, for example, that caravan of explosives had actually done its work, would have fundamentally changed Australia forever. So this is at crisis proportions, and I ask the question, if the ABC is not part of the solution, why is that? And I've said publicly this week and in response before, because it's part of the problem. And I can give 2 or 3 examples of why that's the case. Its head of global affairs is John Lyons, who's an experienced journalist, but one who has declared in writing in his book his animosity towards the state of Israel, and in his monograph, his animosity towards the Jewish organisational structure in this country and many of the Jewish leaders and individuals. Where was the ABC at the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz? Channel 7 was there, Channel 9 was there, Sky was there. Where was the ABC? Why does the ABC platform marginal groups that claim or have Jewish heritage that are anti-Israel in response to the anti-Semitic crisis that we're in? There is a direct line between the way in which the Middle East is covered, the way in which Israel is dealt with, and the way in which the Jewish community is treated. It's not just on the steps of the Opera House, where it was F the Jews, gas the Jews. By the way, these were not the Jews in Israel they were referring to, but the Jews here in Sydney or in Australia.
Yep.
So the reason that I'm here today, and thank you for inviting me, was really just to make that point. We're entitled as Australians, all of us, and particularly the Jewish community, to expect more from our national broadcaster in relation to this crisis. So congratulations to Sky News for doing what it's doing. Thank you to Sky News for doing what it's doing. All credit to Shari, to Alex, to yourself, to all of those involved. But we're entitled to expect more from the ABC.